Welcome to DG Modelworks. In this video, we're going to take a look at and assemble an HO scale GATX tank train from Athearn Genesis. Let's get started. If you would like to see more content from my channel, be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified of future videos. Here are some of the latest Athearn Genesis tank train cars. This release features a few different versions of tank cars. We have Canadian National, GATX in white with a black bottom, Quaker State, and GATX in all white. They all are available as a 2-car AB set, 5 3-car intermediate sets, and a single unnumbered intermediate car like you see sitting on the track. Except for the all-white GATX cars, they only have the 2-car AB set, 3 3-car intermediate sets, and a single unnumbered car. After unboxing the unnumbered version, I can tell you right now, these things are beautiful and detailed to the max. And it did include 2 of the rubber pipes and 2 extra rotating bearing caps. And that's right, these have rotating bearing caps. We have the exploded parts diagram and parts list, your warranty information, your little Athearn pamphlet. As I mentioned, this is the single unnumbered car in this version. And then we have the 2-pack with the N cars, or the AB set. That would be your cars that go on either end of your tank train. And then this version has the 5 3-packs of intermediate cars, which make up the middle of your tank train. So we're going to unbox a couple of these on camera, and then we'll assemble everything later. I am not going to force you to watch me unbox everything. So let's get this set up. Alright, let's get started unboxing the N cars first. This is the 2-pack of N cars. And I would like to thank Athearn for sending me these. Yes, they did send these cars to me for the purpose of sharing them with you. And I would like to say they are all sold out at Athearn. So you will have to look at your favorite hobby dealer to purchase these cars. I would suggest checking out Midwest Model Railroad at Independence, Missouri, or MidwestModelRR.com. The minute these arrived at Athearn from the factories, they went directly to the dealers. That's how many pre-orders went out for these, and they went all to the pre-order. This is a clamshell sleeved packaging, which is very tough to get off. Again, we have the 2 hoses and extra bearing caps. And here we have one of the N cars. We'll get the other one out, and then we'll move on to the intermediate cars. For these models and all your other hobby-related items, be sure to check out Midwest Model Railroad in Independence, Missouri, or check them out online at MidwestModelRR.com. Also, be sure to check out the video description for important information and some other links. Now let's move on to the intermediate cars so we can start building the tank train. And these are all clamshell sleeved packaging, so everything should be nice and secure. And I would like to also mention, as you are unboxing these with the rotating bearing caps, they can fall off sometimes, so be careful as you're removing them, because if 1 or 2 or whatever fell off in transit, they should still be in the box somewhere, even though you do have extra ones included, but sometimes they do pop off in shipment. So just be careful of that and look for them. If you should have to reattach a bearing cap, what I find that works easiest for me, I put a little ball of tape on the end of like a toothpick or something, and then stick your bearing cap right to the end of it, and then you can use that to stick it down on the end of your wheel set, and then you can press it on from there. I find that's easier than trying to use tweezers, because tweezers, one little slip and that thing will go shooting across the room and you will never find it again. As you assemble your tank train, you do have these little rubber hoses that you need to connect between the intermediate cars amongst themselves and to the end cars, and they just slip on. Let me see if I can do this without my hands in the way. They slip on to the little nubs just like that. Just like that, minus the fuzzy. So let's finish assembling our tank train. Another thing I would like to mention as you're assembling this, I would like to point out like the end cars that I told you about. So this is one end car. See, and this side has the connection to connect it to the intermediate cars. This side does not. So that's one end of your tank train. Then your intermediate car will have connections at both ends for your hose. And then the other end car will have the connection at one end. And then it does not have a connection for a rubber hose at this end. And they are different styles of ends on the end cars. One's for pumping and unloading, and I believe the way that works, as they unload, they fill nitrogen or pump nitrogen into the cars to help force the liquid out. So that's how that system works, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Also, something else I forgot to mention, when assembling a tank train, see this piece right here? In real life, that's a bracket that helps hold up the centerpiece of this rubber piping. So you don't want to put that back to back. Like, you wouldn't want to flip this car around and have both of them right here. That's not how that works. So when assembling your train, make sure you have those all going the right way. All right. So I have my tank train built, and this gave me a perfect opportunity to use my Athearn Roundhouse buffer car that I bought a while back. It's been a while. But here we have the Athearn Genesis tank train built up. Now, you don't have to use these many cars in a tank train consist, makeup with your front and back cars or end cars and intermediate cars. You do not need to have this many. Railroads used varying lengths of groupings. So if you don't have as big of a layout, you can make groupings of 2 end cars and 3 intermediate cars or 5 intermediate cars, whatever you like. Railroads used varying lengths of groupings. But this happens to be a fairly long one. And wow, these things are nice. Really sweet. And these, minimum radius on these is 18 inches. Recommended is 22 inches just for appearance purposes. They do look much better on a little bit larger radius curve, but you can get away with 18-inch radius. So you guys with smaller layouts, perfect. And I thought it would be cool to use the GATX GP15-1 from Athearn Genesis on this locomotive to give us some run-bys. So I thought I would use the unnumbered car to go over and let you see the details of this. It's very detailed and a lot of piping, so you do want to be careful when handling these. All the print is nicely done and legible, as you can see here, and again here, and with the correct 1203 flammable liquids warning placard or identification placard. And just another close-up shot. Here's a look at this end with the brake wheel. Your ladder does have a see-through walkway here. You do have the coupler cut lever. This is a Genesis model, so you get some extra detail. And this does have the correct double shelf coupler. It is a McHenry coupler, but it is the correct double shelf coupler for these tank cars. And again, the warning placard. I did flip this around so you can see the brake reservoir area. There you get a good shot of the double shelf coupler. And again, it does have rotating bearing caps, as you can see. There's all your underbody piping and plumbing. Really nice. Lots of detail on this. Take a look at the top here. You do have see-through walkways. This is an intermediate car, so you do have plumbing on both sides to connect to the other tank cars. Here's one end. The valves and the plumbing. Nice roof hatch detail. All the railings are straight. And there is the connection at the other end to connect to another intermediate car. These are really nice looking cars. I thought I'd throw this in the cradle quick just so you get a look at some of the underbody detail. And while we're here, we will check the wheel gauge. I don't suspect any issues. Everything is perfect. And coupler height is right on. So I wanted to bring your attention again to the end cars. It will only have the plumbing on the top to connect to other intermediate cars on the one end. The other end is the system and plumbing designed for the unloading process. There's that one, which is slightly different than the other one. I apologize for the fast movement. Here is the valves and plumbing for the other end, and you'll notice this piping and plumbing actually reaches all the way down to track level or ground level for the unloading and loading process of these tank cars. That would be your end cars, and that is a 2-pack A and B set. Alright, so you've seen a model of a tank train, but what about a real tank train? Well, a tank train is manufactured by General American Transportation Corporation, or better known by their railroad reporting marks, GATX. A GATX tank train, nicknamed oil cans, was a unit train system of interconnected tank cars for efficient loading and unloading of liquids like crude oil and chemicals from a single connection point. Unlike conventional tank cars, the tank train's cars were linked by hoses and valves, allowing an entire train or string of cars to be loaded or unloaded from that single connection point that I just mentioned. Advantages. There are a few advantages of the tank train, but the main one being the faster and more efficient terminal operations. Tank train cars can be loaded or unloaded at a high volume from a single connection on one end of the train. Disadvantages. There are disadvantages as well, such as if a single car within an interconnected set had a mechanical issue, the entire cut of connected cars had to be removed from the train and set aside for repairs. Another disadvantage, any customer that used the system required specialized terminal infrastructure for the high volume, single point loading and unloading, limiting its flexibility. Now sit back and enjoy some run-bys. That's all I have for this video. Take care, and I'll see you next time.